Well, hang on a second. You said you've seen more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And
well, then how did you see that hateful content?
I apologize.
That was perfect.
Please stop. You hope...
Don't advertise.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f*** yourself.
But...
Go f*** yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob. I'm curious. I'm trying to understand what you mean by hateful content. And I'm asking for specific examples. And you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
Well, you've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's why I'm asking for examples. Can you name one example?
I honestly don't use. Honestly, I don't.
You can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why. Because I don't actually use that for you feed anymore. Because I just don't particularly like it.
But you
and
said
actually, a lot of people are quite similar. I only look at
hang on a second.
my
You said you've seen more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And
well, then how did you see that hateful content?
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen for you hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
And I'm saying...
Then I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Despite being embarrassed time and time again, reporters don't seem to realize that Elon Musk is much smarter than they are.
An earlier Tesla received a very rough ride from the BBC's Top Gear program.
Well, I wouldn't paint all of BBC with Top Gear's brush.
I see. So what do you really think of Jeremy Clarkson?
I'm actually a great fan of the BBC. I was surprised to learn Top Gear was even on the BBC.
So what do you think of Jeremy Clarkson?
I think, well, Clarkson's show is much more about entertainment than it is about truth. And I think most people realize that, but not everyone. And I've actually enjoyed a lot of his shows. So it's not as though I just hate Top Gear or anything. He can be very funny and irreverent. But he does have a strong bias against electric cars, and he particularly seems to hate American. Like his two pet peeves are American cars and electric cars. And we're an American electric car.
Let's talk a bit about your tweets, because it comes up a lot. Even today, it came up in anticipation of this. I mean, you do some tweets that seem to be, or at least give support to some who would call others conspiracy theories.
Let me get right to the point. I'm smarter than you.
Well, yes, but I mean, honestly, some of these conspiracy theories have turned out to be true.
Which ones?
Well, like the Hunter Biden laptop.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think it's broadly known and widely known, Peter, that there was a broad range of Russian disinformation back in 2020.
And we commissioned an independent forensic review to determine its authenticity. Senior investigative correspondent Catherine Harrods joins us now with what we found. Catherine, I'm very interested. Good morning.
The laptop data we had analyzed showed no evidence it was faked or tampered with.
Did that go the way you thought it was going to go? Nope.
That was a pretty big deal. There was Twitter and others engaged in active suppression of information that was relevant to the public. That's a terrible thing that happened. That's election interference.
But how do you make a choice? You don't see. I mean, in terms of when you're going to engage. I mean, for example, even today, Elon, you tweeted this thing about George Soros. Well, I'm looking for it because I want to make sure I quote it properly. But I mean, you know what you wrote. But you basically.
It reminds me of Magneto. It's just like, calm down, people. This is not like made a federal case out of it.
You also you said he wants to erode the very fabric of civilization, and Soros hates humanity. Like, when you do something like that, do you?
Yeah, I think that's true. That's my opinion.
Okay, but why share it? Why share it? Especially, why share it when people who buy Teslas may not agree with you, Advertisers on Twitter may not agree with you. Why not just say, hey, I think this? You can tell me, we can talk about it over there, you can tell your friends, but why share it widely?
I mean, this is freedom of speech. I'm allowed to say what I want.
You absolutely are, but I'm trying to understand why you do, because you have to know it's got a. It puts you in the middle of the partisan divide in the country. It makes you a lightning rod for criticism. I mean, do you like that?
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.